Hello, welcome. This is James Brewer Calvert, and I'm setting up the camera here. Um, Give me 1 second. The computer technology was backed up, and I'm going to just close that. Okay, hang on, we'll be right with you. So, listen, folks, I got some good news. So, put this light out your back there. There we go. So, welcome to 601 Live. We are on my phone because the laptop was acting up. But we are at 601 Wednesday. Today is May 20. No, today's May. Having a rough moment here. It's in May. And May 11th. There we go. May 11th. Okay. I got discombobulated with the laptop. So today's May 11th, and it's 601 live, and so we are together. I want to share a personal word of gratitude for the many folks who have shared that they watch these broadcasts and participate in them. So thank you, and also I want to invite you to participate as well. Feel free to share any updates or concerns or joys that you would like. Feel free to post them on our chat here, and we are keeping you and yours in our prayers. So I want to just thank you to all the folks. We've heard from folks all around the country and from Puerto Rico and elsewhere that you are participating in our worship services on Sunday morning, as well as our 601 and other ministries of the church. So fantastic. It's a joy to be in sync with you, to be in God's beautiful church, and it's bigger than all of us. So tonight we're going to talk about stewardship, faithful stewardship, and I posted a picture to go with this 601 of an offering plate with a dollar bill on it, and it's on the communion table. And so it's a reminder of our faithful stewardship and our connection with the holy. I'm going to offer two thoughts for our evening meditation. One is on that money follows mission. Money follows mission. And the second thought is an answer to the question of why do we receive and invite people to give their morning offerings at the same time as we invite them to participate in Holy Communion. Why are offering invitations and communion invitations linked at the same time in the context of holy worship? Okay, so first, money follows mission. Today I gave the nickel tour. I showed some family and folks who visited today from Texas, and I showed them around the church. I call it the nickel tour because for a nickel you get the whole thing. And I showed them from one side of the building to the other, and from one side of our facility grounds to the other, and just told them all how we're an 8-day-a-week church. They learned that we are hosting a wide variety of ministries. We host 12 or so nonprofits and organizations that are doing good in the community and around the world. And we host a church park and playground on our facility, and that draws about 200 families a week. And that park has changed the shape of the city. It's just amazing what we've done by putting up swing sets and healthy, clean space that's safe. Our gym is makerspace now. It's tools shared in community. We lease it out for $1 a year, and 200 something families are participating in creating and building and making things and making a difference in their lives and in their families. Our Chalice thrift store is ongoing. It's been 10 years in the making, and it's an incredible gift. We've raised over $100,000 for mission. But the most important thing we're doing with Chalice Thrift is we're providing clothing and supplies for families in need in our community, selling them at 50 cents, so that somebody could get a pair of pants and a dress shirt to get a job, to get an interview, to make a difference in their life, to go to school. If a family gets burned out, we've got stuff for them. For families that are coming in from out of town or they're refugees, we've got it here. And it's not about the money, it's about the mission. but the money has come in afterward because money follows mission. Our sanctuary hosts weddings and funerals and Sunday morning worship services. Yes, that's a part of the tour. Show them the beautiful sanctuary. But it also hosts recitals and dance groups and conferences and large gatherings for people to have conversations that matter. It's a place of dialogue with the holy and with each other. So the sanctuary is being used and shared for the glory of God. So I packaged this whole tour, whether it's with family from Texas or somebody's just come in the door for the first time. I tell everybody this is all about stewardship. How we use and the way we use God's gift of the church to us is faithful stewardship. So we are practicing faithful stewardship by using our church plant in all over. It's open all the time and being used wisely and generously. Faithful stewardship is about using and taking care of and giving away sacrificially and generously what we've been given. We give in response to what we have received, what we've earned, or what we've been blessed with, our time and our talent, our treasures. And we do it all for the glory of God. Money follows mission. So the Reverend Dr. Cynthia Hale dropped that pearl of wisdom while speaking at a regional assembly here in Georgia. Money follows mission, said Reverend Dr. Cynthia Hale. She's a pastor at Ray of Hope Christian Church. And I've been here 24 years, and I think she's on closer to 30. So she is our senior leader in the disciples in Georgia. But I have long reflected on that pearl of wisdom that she offered to us. I've held that pearl up to the sun, I've considered the likeness of its being, and I've tested that hypothesis against the realities of God's economics. Because she flipped on its head what's been a truism, turning upside down the adage that money precedes mission. You know, we've often said we can't do that because we don't have the money. We used to teach that first you do the fundraising and then you can do the mission. In order to do mission, you needed to find money. That's what we've been thinking and teaching for so long. And that without any currency or cash or credit, without any resources, there could be no community service. There could be no love. There could be no giving. That's what we taught for so long. But Cynthia Hale changed all that in my head, and I said, this is the reality that first you do mission, and then the money will follow. It's so true. You serve first, you love first, you give first, you give the best of yourself together with Christ and Christ Church, and then you trust that, wait for it, you trust that God will support what God wills to come to fruition. Do mission first. Trust that people will see what you're doing, what you're serving, what you're being, what you're becoming, and they will support the work, the play, and the love that you do in the name of Jesus. This is how it works. This is what's going on. I'll give you an example. This week and last week, we received significant offerings from families whose loved ones had recently passed. Okay? The ones who had passed left in their will a legacy gift to this church. Now, that's money. It's a beautiful gift, and it will be used wisely and faithfully for Christ Church and ministry. But the Church of Jesus Christ never said to these folks, first you give and then we're going to love you. No. For decades, this congregation loved on and served and held hands and ministered to and prayed with and did mission with families in this community. And then the families in the community decided to leave legacy gifts. Okay? It doesn't work the other way. You can't say, we want your legacy gift, and then we'll start serving. No. First you do mission, and then the Lord provides. The Lord will provide the resources, the people, the time, the talent, the energy, and the money that's needed for God's mission. But you got to start it first. That's what it has. That's what Cynthia Hale was talking about. That sufficient means will be provided by God through God's people once you start serving, once you start doing mission and ministry in the community. Then the resources will follow. And it does. It does. It always does. The Lord always provides. And if the God's not providing, maybe what you're doing isn't right in the first place. You got to think about that. Take it seriously. Okay, second, why do we invite people to give faithfully and sacrificially and generously and happily and joyfully at the same time as we're inviting people to come to the table to receive Holy Communion? Why are those two linked? One of my favorite comments someone once told me is that most people wish to serve God, but in an advisory capacity only. Well, here at First Christian Church Decatur, we invite you to serve God faithfully and intensely. We invite you to be all in, to be totally invested in God, and not to know more about God, but to know God, and to be totally all in on what God is doing in and through you. And so, at the offering point in worship, at the communion point in worship, when we gather around the table, we say, bring to the Lord your gifts. Be grateful for this opportunity to share out of the abundance of your life and blessings, and be ready to receive the abundance of God's love. We bring to the table our gifts, grateful for what we have received. We bring to the table our gifts, and we are invited to receive the gifts of God's love. Worship is at the heart of our common life together, and it's at the center of our practice of faithful stewardship. The very act of making an offering is a sign of our thanksgiving. It's a sign of our gratitude. It's a sign of our joy in what God is doing in our lives. The opportunity for receiving people's gifts in worship is given great care and attention at First Christian Church Decatur. It means a lot that your gifts, your $1, your $20, your $10,000, your $100,000, whatever it is you feel led to give to God's church, we want you to know that we take that seriously. We take this invitation seriously because we want you to contemplate why you give. We want you to make a chance and an opportunity in your life to give an appropriate gift. We want you to take the time and the moments in worship to recognize that the gifts you're bringing are blessed, that we are going to pray over them, we're going to give thanks for them, and that these gifts will be set apart for the building up of God's church and kingdom, the beloved community. I'm going to take an aside and say that our faithful stewardship ministry is doing incredible works right now, and our committees of folks are taking this task of making sure your dollars, your gifts, your time, your talent, your treasure are all being used wisely and not being wasted, but are being used for God's mission and service in this community and around the world. We take a few moments in worship every Sunday to give thanks for the gift, to give thanks for the one who's giving the gift, and to give thanks for the one who is receiving the gift and using it to give God glory. So it's an amazing experience. At the same time, we then invite people to partake of Holy Communion. In our congregation, everyone's welcome. You are welcome to receive Holy Communion. Remember that the first thing Jesus did was tell us that we belong. You belong at Christ's table. You are welcome and you belong. There's no creed, there's no rule, there's no wall, there's no gate, there's nothing to come between you and God. It's you and the living Christ. So we invite you to participate in that act of worship. We bring our gifts They are blessed, we give thanks, they're prayed over, and we bring ourselves to receive God's gift of love, of life and life everlasting. I'm not a big fan of St. Augustine, but, even a broken clock is right twice a day. So I'm going to quote him. And so this is the line that St. Augustine was impressed by a 5th century procession of gifts in Rome. So I guess he was in Rome. He saw people bringing their gifts, and the faithful brought from their own homes things from their kitchen tables. Okay, so they're bringing their food from their homes. And Augustine called this an admirable exchange for their gifts that God gave to them. They were returning in gratitude to Jesus. And he then wrote a prayer, which is often recited in worship as we bring our tithes and offerings. Augustine said, "Lord, receive our gifts in this wonderful exchange. From all you have given us, we bring you these gifts, and in return, you give us yourself." That's nice. That's nice. We bring you our gifts, and in exchange, you give us yourself. God sent the Son into the world, not to condemn the world, but that the world might be saved through him. And we are grateful for such an amazing gift of love. And so these moments of worship, remembering that our tithes, our time, our talent are going to be used for God's glory in this community and around the world, and we bring them gratefully and lay them at the table. And at the same table, we receive this amazing gift of love, reminded of God's healing power, God's mercy, God's comfort, God's forgiving grace, and God's generosity. I'm thankful for you. I'm thankful for your participation, for your support, thankful for your prayers, and I'm thankful that we might see each other on Sunday morning at 10:25 in worship. Bring your gifts. I'll bring my gifts. We'll put them together, and as they say, 1 + 1 + 1 = 1,000,000. It's amazing what God can do when people work together for the common good. May God's blessings and peace be with you. You take care, and good night.